All right, so another activity that you can do with the 5 elements in music is to match each element to a different instrument and color. So each element is associated with a different color. The 5 elements are associated with different colors. Air is associated with green, space is associated with blue, fire is associated with gold, and earth is associated with red. Oh, and water is associated with orange. All right, so those are the 5 elements and the colors they're associated to. So what I did for this activity is I found an instrument that matched the color, or you can have like index cards with the color or sticky notes if it's safe to tape on an instrument, the colors that match the different instruments to kind of go along with the 5 elements. So first for air, I had my frog rasp, and it's green. For fire, I have my gold triangle. For space, I have my blue thunder tube. And then for the next two, I would add a sticky note. So a sticky note or an index card with the color. So for earth, I'd put red with my drum. We know if there's some red down here, you could point out. And for water, I have my ocean drum. So you could put an index card on it, by it, with the orange color for water. Okay, and once you decide which instruments should pair with which elements and element color, you can decide which mudras to use for each element as well. Each mudra is associated with different elements, and that's a bigger topic than we're covering in our ebook. But if you're interested in learning more about the 5 elements and mudras, look into our additional learning resources that are in the ebook and that can move you into deeper topics on the 5 elements. So, for example, I chose mudras associated with the different elements, but to learn more about how to activate the elements of the mudras, that's a bigger topic, and you could really pair the mudras with the auditory sounds and still get a lot of the same benefits out of this activity. So we're using the colors, the elements, and the sounds of the mudras, and these are like different levels to really expand the creativity of this activity. You can choose the colors, you can choose the sounds, you can choose the mudras. So when you hear the thunder tube, which was our space instrument, for the mudra, you can press your thumb into your middle finger for space. And as you can see, there's a lot of variation that can come with this auditory matching game. You could work with your students to what instruments do they want to match with different mudras or different colors with the elements. Just adding all these different layers, very visual, very auditory, adding in a lot of senses, motor with the different mudras. And you could definitely expand this into songwriting or Simon Says like games that are in our ebook. So check out more about those activities and how you can kind of mix the 5 elements and different colors and sounds with the different games in our ebook as well too. But the basic idea is to choose instruments for each element and then choose a mudra for each element. And when you hear one of the instruments, you would play the mudra that is associated with it, that you have either predetermined for your group or student or decided with your students. So very kind of Simon Says leader-led, and then other kids or other students could be the leader, and they could be like Simon Says fire, and what was the fire instrument? Who has the fire instrument? And can kind of have that leader aspect to the 5 elements as well. And that's the basis. It's very creative, very open, adaptable for whoever you're working with. The mudras that I picked out match the elements, but there's so many other options, and you can really use the mudra cards in the ebook as well to create the experience that you want. Maybe you're working on specific fine motor goals, and then you could pair those with the different instruments talking about the elements as well. So feel free to completely make this auditory matching game whatever works best for your students and whatever level of expansion. With the color, instrument, and mudras, there's a lot going on. So if you wanted to pair that to just an instrument matching to a mudra, so somebody plays the frog rasp and it cues a mudra, you could do that, or you could add the color aspect to it as well to kind of talk about the 5 elements. It's really what works best for your students. And that's the basis of the game. There's more information on it in the e-handbook. And get creative with it, have fun with it, and really pair different instrument sounds to different mudras so that you can cue your students, or your students could cue each other to make different mudra shapes based on the instruments that they're playing.